JHAM Hip Hop and Cinema. Yeah. 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 I'm transparent to you niggas cause I ain't got time to bullshit. So nigga, what you see is what you get. IQ, creativity, and hustle is legit. I'm like a DD-Gim-Fo carbine when I spit. I kick the whole truth to those that only know the half. Blessing my people with the literacy and the math. And shaking shit up, but you can put up the seismic graph. It's more than the movement of tectonic plates. It's more than the movement of just racks and weight. We up against principalities, enemies of the state. Link up with this army, you best have the breastplate of the Teflon material. But that ain't all. The avenue of expression, the provocation of thought. The love of being free to sell without being involved. The motivation to question everything you taught. It's back freedom. Fight for your freedom. Forever. Yeah.
What up, y'all? I'm Ira Dubb, actor, rapper, independent filmmaker, and political activist that uses educational entertainment as a platform for changing the landscape affecting urban youth. And this is the second installment of my blog, which explores the generational curses that hold us back as black people. And it's a challenge to you to change your way of thinking and free yourself. Hence the name Freedom Forever. Now, last week I talked a little bit about who the modern day slave master is, and it was determined that we are self-oppressing people today. And I didn't really elaborate too much on that self-oppression because it was an introductory episode, one where I was explaining a little bit about who I am and why I started this. And so what I want to do today is elaborate just a little bit further. And I want to start by using one of the old sayings that the best way to hide something from a nigga is to put it in a book. Now, as politically incorrect as that is, to some degree, I have to agree with it. And that's not saying that we don't read. It's just a simple fact that we spend a lot of time on tabloid and stuff of that nature. You know, we're a culture of people that learn more from what the pastor say, what's being talked about in the barbershop, what's on the Steve Harvey Morning Show, and other forms of media than any other culture out there in America today. And it's time for us to expand beyond that and spend just as much time and energy learning how to be entrepreneurs on our own, learning how to manage our finances, and learning how to just get along in general. And in turn, it'll help us to better ourselves and better our communities. So with that said, what I want to start doing is from time to time, just throwing some books out there, some suggested reading to you. And today's suggested reading is a book called Slavery by Another Name. It's by Douglas Blackmon. And it's a really deep book that explores the myth that slavery was abolished in 1863 during the Emancipation Proclamation. Now, granted, this was a good effort by President Lincoln. It didn't really get the job done because during the Reconstruction period in the South, what happened was that your white factory owners would use the loopholes in the Constitution to create a neo-slavery in which the conditions were actually worse than the slavery that came before it during the days of the Confederacy. Because your value, your economic value as a slave was higher than that of you as a convict. As a convict, you were allowed to just be worked to death, and then you would just get replaced like it was nothing. Whereas as a slave, they would definitely whip you and punish you, but you weren't beat to death because they needed you to be in good working condition. You didn't have any value as a slave if you weren't in good working condition, you know, and that affected their industry and how they made their money. So just to elaborate a little bit more about what's in the book without giving you the whole book, one of the things that's explored in the book is how there were these laws created to make anything that black people did a crime. And these laws were supposed to apply to everyone, but black people were the only ones that were really getting locked up for these crimes because they were really silly, stupid laws. And they were meant in order to sell us right back into slavery. Because once you got locked up for something like a vagrancy law where you couldn't prove that you were employed, so you got sent to prison. Once you got locked up for something like that, you got sold into a system called convict leasing, where they actually took the convicts, and they rented them out to different companies and made you work under these horrible conditions. And that was the way that black people were enslaved for quite some time. And then once there were prosecutions that came for that activity, then you had sharecroppers and a number of different ways over like 8 decades after the Emancipation Proclamation, which the black people in the South and even in the North were still enslaved. And even though those things are not in practice anymore, the prison system that you have in today's society is still operates on a very similar way. It's just on a lesser scale, I should say. But you still have black people that are being given harsher sentences for the same crimes as white people. The jails are packed with black men, and there is cheap labor being done by prisoners. So you still have the same things going on today. And the time period where they started locking up black people during this neo-slavery was a time where the basis of the demonization of our culture that you see in the media today began, because they would tally up the number of prisoners and convicts, and it would be majority of black people, and these numbers were used to say, look at these people are not really worthy of being treated like normal citizens, because they're not trustworthy, they're a culture of criminals. And that's a thing that's carried on even until today's generation, and is gone on so to the point that we have bought into this belief of our own selves. That's why the black male struggles with his identity. You know, should I be a goody or should I be a criminal? You know, if I don't have any street cred, I'm not cool. If I don't gang bang, or if I haven't gone to jail for robbery or selling drugs, then I don't have any. Then I don't hold no weight. You know, in society, I can't get along with my peers because I don't have the street cred, and I'm not cool enough. You know, and it's a common thing amongst us because it's something that we've actually bought into. And it's time now for us to educate ourselves and break that whole way of thinking. And because that's why we are self-oppressing people today. And I think it's really important to read things like Slavery by Another Name, because it really it enlightens you on how these systems got put into place. There's no secret that they've been there for a while, but this is the enlightenment on how these things came to be and why we still suffer from it today. And knowing these things help us to actually change them, bring some correction to them, and move forward in a different way. And one of the things that we need to do is educate ourselves in the multitudes of opportunities that are available to us that didn't exist at this time, because this is what our ancestors fought for, is for us to be able to become entrepreneurs ourselves, be able to run our own industries and our own businesses, and be able to have these businesses flourish within our own communities. And this is what they fought for, and yet we're satisfied with just going into the modern day slave system and being a part of somebody else's corporation and being their slave, where we get the breadcrumbs, and the big white man at the top, the CEO, he's the one that's getting all the money off of the back of you, off the backs of us. So it's time for us to learn how to avoid that, because we don't have to voluntarily jump into this workforce, but we do. And then we get satisfied there because we got benefits and whatever, and we're just over broke. We're able to pay our bills, and we're just satisfied with this way of living. And we don't want to use it as a stepping stone, which is what we should be doing, is using it as a stepping stone to get ourselves ahead and get out of it and become our own bosses and live like the kings that we really are. We're the first of mankind on the earth. We shouldn't be as behind as we are as a people, to make a long story short. So that's the whole purpose of Freedom Forever. And what the challenge is for us right now is to not settle for the education that we get in the school system. As a student, the challenge for you is to challenge your teachers, because your teachers are a lot of them anyway. They are willing to expand on the curriculum and go deeper into what the real history is, and to teach you different things that will help to nurture your actual career goals and your passions, and push you into that direction. But unfortunately, because the school systems are designed around these standardized tests that actually make money for the government, your curriculums are designed to teach you a whole bunch of pointless things that you don't actually need. And your teachers are stuck in a system where there's not a whole lot that they can do about it. So if you challenge them from time to time in class, and be that kind of student to not just settle for whatever the textbook says, and ask questions and dig deep, then you might actually be able to get more out of these very well educated people that are standing in front of you teaching you things that they're forced to teach, And also, as parents, we need to start teaching a lot earlier, about finances and entrepreneurship and other things that actually nurture your creativity and your passions. And in order to do that, we have to educate ourselves about it. The school systems aren't going to do it. Your colleges are going to take your money regardless. It doesn't matter what kind of grades you made, really. Only in these elite colleges where they cookie cut people into being these corporate zombies or whatever they do to them. I don't know what the real terminology is, but it doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say is, if you really want to go to a school, you can go to a school, and they're gonna take your money, and even if you have to pay student loans off for the rest of your life, you can get into a university. But you can't rely on just what's being taught there. You have to take and expand on those things and go beyond that, and actually do research for yourself. If there's something that you have an aspiration for, you need to look it up. Go to your bookstores, to your libraries, Google it, do whatever you have to do, but get deep into those things on your own. Look it up, find your own loopholes, whatever it takes, to become the person that you really want to be. And if you want to be successful, that's what we have to do. Otherwise, you're just going to be trapped into the modern day slave system, and it's nobody's fault but yours if you're trapped into it, because you have the opportunities out there. You just got to crack open those books and find out what they are. So with that said, this is my second installment of Freedom Forever, and I'll be taking different subjects every single week, and I'll just be elaborating on some of these things. And this is Freedom Forever. That's the first book, Slavery by Another Name. Check it out, and I'll see you guys next week. If you have any questions, comments, please feel free to holler at me. Get on my YouTube channel, subscribe. It's JHAM Hip Hop and Cinema. Feel free to email me at info@jhamentertainmentcrew.com, and let's talk about these things. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Also, be on the lookout for my album that's coming out real soon. I got my man Beezy. Shout out to Beezy with Dead End Hip Hop. He's actually hooking me up with some beats, and I'm working on the album. Right now it's untitled, so keep watching the vlog. Stay tuned. I'll be giving you some more information about that as we go along. And in the meantime, people, please change your way of thinking. Free yourself. I'll holler.
If you go away